Someone killed my parents. Someone killed my parents. Are you still there? Yeah. People, no. Who was the person next to me shot? My mom and my dad. Mom and dad?
Denied. Late breaking news out of California. Convicted killer Erik Menendez denied parole. This is his brother Lyle will be learning his fate in just a few hours. Plus, opening statements getting underway in less than an hour from Mama Donna Adelson. Our Court TV cameras are there bringing you every minute. And this morning, our legal eagles weigh in on which side made the best first impression during the questioning. And it's a family reunion of sorts at the Leon County Jail as Mama Donna and her convicted son Charlie are under the same roof. And hubby Harvey is in the gallery. Also this hour, we've got a possible sighting of baby Emmanuel, who has now been missing for more than a week. We're trying to unravel the mystery behind the beautiful 7-month-old's disappearance. It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Friday morning to you and welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. It's the end of the week. We made it. We got an outstanding show ready to go for you. So let's start it off as we always do. Grab your cup of coffee. It's time for my opening statement. It's been a long time and coming. And today we'll see prosecutors in Florida taking a giant step forward in seeking justice for Florida State University law professor Danny Markel. You know, my friends, I remember this trial. Trial number 1, I remember, with Sigfredo Garcia and Catherine McBanawa. And this trial happened not long after Court TV relaunched back in 2019. Maybe you remember it too. And I recall specifically speaking with some of my network colleagues here, and we kept asking ourselves, why in the world aren't these Adelsons charged? What I heard made me sick back then, and it makes me even sicker now that we have a much fuller picture of what happened. Danny Markel was taken at 41 years old in a savage killing. And the facts coming into evidence get more sickening by the trial. So as we're going into trial number 5 with defendant number 4, or I'm sorry, trial number 4 with defendant number 5, it's easy to get lost here with so many things going on in this prosecution. Let's remember, this case is about Dan Markel. You know, it's easy to get caught up in the Adelsons and all of their drama. But let's remember Danny Markel. He deserved to live. His 2 boys deserved to grow up with their dad. His mom and dad shouldn't have had to bury their own son. His friends deserved to go through life with their buddy. His students deserved to have their professor. And academia deserved to have its legal scholar. May God bless the Markel family as they're getting ready to endure yet another trial. And no matter what happens, may they know that their son Danny's pristine name and legacy as a wonderful father, an incredible legal scholar, will carry on. That's my opening statement. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it is time for your top story. So we have some late breaking news overnight out of California. Boy, if I could get that out of California with Erik Menendez being denied parole. This is his brother Lyle is set to face the parole board this morning. The convicted killer attended the nearly 10-hour-long hearing via video Thursday from a state prison in San Diego. The board saying he can be eligible for parole again in 3 years. Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson has more.
Hi, good morning. Today, Lyle Menendez set to face a parole board here at Donovan State Prison in San Diego, where he's housed. This less than 24 hours since that shocking decision by the same board about his brother's fate. Convicted killer Erik Menendez denied parole after appearing virtually for his parole hearing inside Donovan State Prison located in San Diego. This marking the first chance at freedom for the brothers, Erik and Lyle, who were resentenced in May to life with the possibility of parole. During Erik's hearing, he told the parole board, quote, "I just want my family to understand that I am so unimaginably sorry for what I have put them through." When questioned about shooting his mother and the spending sprees after the murders, he said that they were, quote, "an incredibly callous act." The parole board raised questions about behavior behind bars, including drug use, gangs, fights with other inmates, and a contraband cell phone. On Friday, his older brother Lyle will go before the same parole board.
Although this is disappointing, 2 years ago, this was not even a possibility. We gotta wake up tomorrow and do this all over again for Lyle. So wish us luck.
But ultimately, this could be in the governor's hands. Governor Gavin Newsom for the state of California can issue clemency at any point in time, but he can also reject any plan for release. That is the very latest from Donovan State Prison in San Diego. Matt Johnson, Court TV.
All right, our thanks to Matt Johnson for that report. Now let's bring in our legal eagles and talk about this. I have with me on the program today attorneys David Bruno and Rick Grundy. Good morning to you, gentlemen. Let's get your reactions to the parole board's decision. David, your thoughts, please.
No surprise here. I mean, I've been surprised this whole year with all of the litigation that has happened in this particular case. The resentencing really gave them this window that was never even possible up until the modification. And parole board's doing their job, right? This is the board. That was a quick decision too. None of us really thought that we were going to get that so quickly, but it's not final. It goes up to the board. It will be rubber stamped. That's typically what happens. So another 3 years for Erik. For Lyle, it's probably going to be the same thing. Although we heard in the package a lot of the infractions in the institution that was held against Erik. And I just wonder how many, if that's comparable to Lyle. But I don't expect anything different for Lyle. And I do not expect the governor to give clemency either. I think they'll be in for another 3 years at the very least.
David, thank you for that. Rick Grundy, I want to ask you for your reaction to the denial, please.
Well, I'm personally thrilled because I think the law that we're working with is important to the justice system. It turns a deaf ear to the general society, which are all victims of individuals like this, and dangerous because it puts politics over the process of the legal system that we have. I'm not surprised by this. I think it's the easy decision at this point. There's going to be blowback if they granted the pardon now. He's back up because of this bad law in just 3 years. And I think that's what they're counting on for the safe road for what is more a political decision than a legal one.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Rick. Thank you. So the board raised some concerns, and David, you touched on this a bit, about some of Erik's bad behavior behind bars. So things that they were concerned about include drug use, gangs, fights with other inmates, and a contraband cell phone. To which Erik replied, quote, "Connection with the outside world was far greater than the consequences of me getting caught with the phone." And we also have DA Nathan Hochman's response to the denial. Let's look at that. He said the board correctly determined that Erik Menendez's actions speak louder than words, and that his conduct in prison and current mentality demonstrates that he still poses an unreasonable risk of danger to the community. Importantly, the board did not bow to the public spectacle or pressure, a restraint that upholds the dignity and integrity of the justice system. So I was talking about yesterday in my opening statement. I was applauding him, that DA, for not bowing to the public pressure. Let's talk about that if we can. That's hard. That is hard. You know, when you're a prosecutor and you feel like, oh, I'm getting beat up in the court of public opinion, but you are held to this higher set of rules. And what matters is not what's in the public opinion, what's happening in the court of law with the facts, the evidence, all of it. Rick Grundy, would you speak to that, please?
Yeah, it's the age-old problem you have in Massachusetts. We don't have any elected judges. Our district attorneys are elected. The only other alternative is for them to be appointed. Our judges are appointed. But regardless, politics plays a huge part, whether it be in the appointment or the actual election of an individual. A DA, typically, if you make the right decision, if you follow the law, and you keep a vigilant eye on prosecutions and crime control, doing your job, in other words, you get reelected. But I definitely, every time you see a person take a stance that requires that courage in a district attorney's office, you got to applaud him, and this district attorney certainly deserves that.
Rick, thank you so much for that. For anybody who doesn't know, you've served as a supervisor, both in a county district attorney's office and then also in the attorney general's office. So thank you for that. I want to welcome in now to the conversation entertainment commentator Holland Reed. Holland, good morning to you. We were just talking about how it's so hard on the legal side of things when there's this enormous amount of pressure, and we've talked about it before, the Menendez mania, so to speak, that's gone on in Hollywood. And would you mind speaking to some of the challenges when, you know, when you're one of these advocacy groups that advocates for victims, you know, and you're a person who's always been very victim forward, victim compassionate, a victim's advocate, and you have these very loud people on the other side, you know, who are opposing this. And there's been a lot of nastiness, a lot of vitriol. I've seen it. I've experienced it for saying these guys should be denied. I'll probably get hate today for it. I don't care. Please speak to, you know, what it does for the people in the groups that are protecting victims.
Well, I think there's a huge generational shift in difference in true crime entertainment versus back in the day where you would have one or two shows or outlets that emphasize true crime stories like the O.J. Simpson trial in the 90s. And now where it is very victim forward, it is very different generation where we're very outspoken about you know, abuse in a very different way, and people are, you know, the Me Too movements and what have you. So you have a very different generational kind of like divide where back in the day it was a little bit of a harsher system, and it's like you did it, you go to jail, you pay the price. Now it's like, well, wait a minute, why did they do it? It's a lot more, I think, psychological interest in these crime stories. Although it's still Hollywood meets true crime, but everyone still loves a redemption story. Everyone still is going to gravitate, and every single time there's a twist and turn in these cases, we're going to get a new documentary, we're going to get a new angle from Hollywood, we're going to get a new show. So I think that there's that catch-22 where the advocacy groups, where they do, you know, work with victims, and there's a little bit more, I guess, in-depth coverage of why people do what they do, hurt people. And I think that's where the shift has happened in the true crime narrative, where we all are engaged on our couches watching Snapped, and we don't feel as bad for someone that stabs their husband because they raped their child and what have you. So I think that that's the difference in the shift in this case. So, yeah.
Great comments you just made there, Holland. You know, kind of dovetailing off of something you said. I've run into this, maybe you have too. You've worked in the entertainment industry for a long time. You're an actress, you're a photographer, a dancer. You've had a great career. I've noticed people, you know, that will come up to me when, as soon as somebody recognizes me or knows what I do, they want to talk about whatever case that interests them. And with this one in particular, when they'll say, but these guys were abused, and I'll say, well, the television story said that, and I realized that was a big part of the television series, but that was loosely based on this true story. If you talk to folks in the district attorney's office, they're saying they don't have evidence that occurred, that there were fabrications that were done. And I run into people often that'll say, well, no, I don't believe that because I saw it on TV. Holland, how powerful do you think the media is sometimes in swaying the court of public opinion against what's actually in the court records?
It's absolutely powerful. That's the whole reason why I think the sway was the Kim Kardashian backing of their release, as well as the two Netflix series. The media plays a very huge role in determining a public's opinion on cases like this. So it's extremely powerful, and you have to be extremely careful. If they did it, they serve the time, and that's what they're doing right now.
Exactly. Denied is the decision for Erik, and we'll see what happens with Lyle today. Holland Reed, we got to let you go. Thank you so much for popping on this morning. Great to see you as always. Our legal eagles, David Bruno and Rick Grundy, are coming with us. Do the same at home, please. Here's what's up next.
Adelson? How you doing? I just want to give you this.
Can I ask you, is someone blackmailing you? No, it's always a possibility.
I said to Harvey, I swear to God, our family was cursed. When did they issue a warrant?
One moment, Miss Adelson. Please keep your comments to yourself.
Mama Donna now has a jury. We're breaking down who was selected and what they might be thinking about the lawyers. And what happened to baby Emmanuel Haro? He was reported missing more than a week ago under some suspicious circumstances, and we're taking a closer look at his disappearance.
Coming soon to Court TV.
The Microsoft executive gunned down. Now his ex and her new husband are charged with his murder.
Brian Walsh, accused of murdering his wife, Anna.
It's very disturbing, very heart-wrenching.
A social media sensation, now a suspected killer.
Why do you have something against me?
She wrote a children's book about her husband's death. Now she's accused of killing him.
The high-stakes trials you don't want to miss. Coming soon. Only on Court TV.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will well and truly try the issues between the state of Florida and this defendant and render a true verdict according to the law and evidence? If so, say I will. I will. Thank you.
You can be seated.
We have a jury. Opening statements are set to begin at 9 a.m. Eastern Time in the murder trial for Donna Adelson. More than a decade after the murder of Danny Markell, and 4 trials later, his former mother-in-law is facing a jury for allegedly being the mastermind behind it all. Here's a breakdown of Donna Adelson's jury. 12 jurors seated, 2 alternates chosen. 8 of them are men, 6 of them are women. Here are the racial backgrounds. 10 of them are white, both male and female. 2 are African American, 2 are Asian American. And here's a sample of the questioning before the jury was selected.
What are undercover operations? Anybody know? Volunteers? Just letting me flounder up here. Number 1, undercover operations, like a law enforcement operation that's undercover. What does that mean?
When the people don't know that the cops are there trying to figure stuff out.
The fact that my client's son, Charlie Adelson, has been convicted of these charges, is that something that you're going to consider when determining whether or not my client's guilty?
Sitting here right now, no, but if the state uses some sort of, I mean, it would just be determined on if the state has a connection or if they present some evidence, that would have to be considered.
Is it conclusive?
No.
All right, so our question this morning to our power panel, who do you think made the best first impression on the jurors, the state or the defense? Let's bring back in our legal eagles, Rick Grundy and David Bruno. Okay, David, your thoughts. Who made the best impression and why, in your view, please?
Look, it's fascinating to see that little process right there. It's my favorite process too. You know, it's the calm before the storm as a prosecutor or a defense attorney, especially for prosecutors, because you have that burden of proof and you got to throw all those schedules into the mix and you have to get your exhibits ready and things like that. And I didn't see it all, but the reports are that the prosecutor did the better job of connecting. Really connecting through their questioning and sort of laying out these legal principles and honoring and welcoming their burden, really, because they have the burden. And it's really the first impression for prosecutors is to get in front and say, look, we have it and we welcome it and we're going to get through it. Right. So next is the opening statements, and that's the what you will hear statement, and it's really the preview. So first impression, I think, goes to the prosecutor, and we know a lot about this case. They got a lot of firepower for Donna, especially the financial transactions and the recordings and all the things and the flight. So I think, given what we know now, prosecutors in the lead at the moment.
David, thank you. All right, are we going to be 2 for 2 here? Rick Grundy, who made the best first impression in your opinion, please?
Well, let me first say I hate to disagree with my brother from my motherland of New Jersey, but I hate this open voir dire system. I think it throws the whole process into chaos and gamesmanship. It's disorderly to me as far as how evidence gets presented to them. That having been said, I get to agree with David that I think the prosecutor definitely won this. I will admit that I have a bias. I think she's phenomenal from having watched the other cases as well as a case that she tried many years ago. She knows what she's doing. She takes a process that I don't like, and she uses it to make herself a friend and the leader of these juries.
Rick Grundy, appreciate your opinion. Thank you for that. I've got more questions for you both. So we're wondering who we're going to see on the witness stand and who's going to be the most anticipated witness. Lots of characters to choose from.
Is your mom overprotective of you?
Yes. His mom hasn't been sleeping. His mom is not eating.
And the reason she wasn't sleeping or eating, did that have to do with this ex-husband of Wendy?
Yes, ma'am.
Quote, it was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman and it was cheaper to get you this TV. Is that what he said?
That was the joke that he made, yes.
Were all of the checks deposited by Catherine McBanois?
They were.
Who were all the checks signed by?
Donna Adelson.
I want to make sure that you take care of what he's going through, the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuba.
Mama Donna's fifth person to be tried in connection to the murder of Danny Markell. So let's talk about this witness list. We have a look at it. Here's who's on the list. We've got Charlie Adelson, Wendy Adelson, Rob Adelson. Yes, there is another Adelson sibling, a brother to Wendy and Charlie. And my understanding is he really has nothing to do with that family. Can't blame him. He is estranged, and he is, in fact, the son of Donna and Harvey. He's going to be called by the prosecution, or at least he's on their list to be called. Catherine McBanois. That's right. We remember her. She was a defendant in trial 1 and in trial 2, and Charlie's girlfriend. We also have Sarah Youssef. Remember her, the family friend who allegedly overheard Donna say they're talking about Danny Markell like he was a beloved professor, but you know something, he was a jerk. That statement, yes, she can testify to that. And Scott Radius, friend of Charlie's, who allegedly was the one who tipped off law enforcement about Donna's Vietnam travel plans. Now we've got David Marcus, Francis McBanois, Catherine McBanois' older brother, and Court TV digital content producer Katie McLaughlin. She's awesome. She's got more on Mama Donna's witness list for you. If you want to see the whole thing and pour through that, just go to courttv.com. It is up there. Okay. David Bruno, who are you most looking forward to see testify in this case and why?
Well, I'm looking forward to the co-conspirators. I mean, getting into the conspiracy and learning about the inner workings of the agreement is definitely on the top of my list. But for the proofs, I need to see the financials, because you have to tie her in. And in the clip, we just heard probably the most powerful piece, and that is the checks that were written for the hit were written by Donna Adelson. So that is like the most important, but I think the juiciest is going to come from the inner workings of the conspiracy, the agreement between two or more people to commit a crime.
David, thank you for that. Rick Grundy, same question. Who are you most looking forward to seeing on the stand and why?
I guess I'm intrigued most by what they may be getting from Rob Adelson. It may be just some tiny little crumbs, but, you know, I've had situations where if you can put in a family member or a friend, somebody very close to the defendant who, no matter how small this little piece of evidence is, hints at that this individual who knows the defendant well believes them to be guilty, it's very powerful. Beyond that, you know, as far as effectiveness, you want the witnesses, I think the strongest witnesses are those with the least connection, the least reason to lie on behalf of either the prosecution or Donna Adelson. So I agree with David, the financial record, follow the money.
Follow the money. I like that. For me, it's Wendy. It's Wendy. David Bruno, quickly before we have to let you go, should Wendy be worried?
Oh, she should be worried for the rest of her life, honestly. I cannot believe that she has ducked all of these prosecutions, especially considering Wendy had the most to gain for this hit. She had the most to gain with the fight of the custody and the relocation with her husband.
Yeah, she sure did. You're right, David. She did have the most to gain from this and has testified the most times. This will be number 4 for her. And Georgia Kappelman's going to try to grow her like a steak, I am sure. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit the pause button here. David Bruno, we got to say goodbye to you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll let you get to court. Rick Grundy's coming with us when we come back. Here's what's next.
This is what he looks like. He's just a baby. Just give our son back, please.
Oh, these two. Yeah, these parents of baby Emmanuel, who's still missing this morning. We're talking about his mysterious disappearance. Plus, an Adelson family reunion of sorts. It is in the Leon County Jail in Florida. We'll talk about it as we are minutes away from opening statements. Welcome back. We're giving a voice to victims this morning, in particular 7-month-old baby Emmanuel Haro, who's been missing now since August 14th. There was a possible sighting that didn't pan out, so we're wondering what happened to him. Well, his mother says that she was attacked and her baby was kidnapped outside of a store in San Bernardino, California. Now, police rather, say that Rebecca Haro made inconsistent statements about what exactly happened to Emmanuel. And they've served some search warrants at the family home where the baby was living. They've also seized the baby's dad's car. And the parents spoke out the day after the baby disappeared. Let's listen to what they said.
We come to you guys asking you to help us find our son. He was abducted last night from Big 5. Somebody struck my wife while she was trying to change his diaper. And we just ask if anybody knows anything to please contact Ukaipa Police Department.
Don't hesitate, just call.
His name's Emmanuel. He's 7 months. He's 7 months old.
Have you been notified of any information yet by local authorities? No. We have not. They haven't told us nothing.
They said they don't have any major updates.
Do you guys plan on doing a local search of your own? We are.
Yeah, we have
at 4 o'clock here at Ukaipa.
The community set up a search party at 4:30. So we just ask you guys if you can help us, you know.
Please.
This is what he looks like. He's just a baby. Just give our son back, please.
He was wearing a black onesie with a Nike swoosh on him. If you know anything, please come forward. Please. Please bring us back our son. We're safe.
Authorities now say mom has stopped cooperating with detectives after she was confronted about her story that had so many inconsistencies. And both of these parents have also lawyered on up. Police say they're gathering evidence and following leads, but still no baby Emmanuel. So let's talk about this. Where is the baby, and did someone do the baby harm? Let's bring back in attorney and former prosecutor Rick Grundy and welcome in private investigator from Black Ops Private Investigators, Manuel Gomez. Great to have you both to discuss this. Manuel, I want to start with you, please. Tapping into all your many years of experience. You served in the NYPD, served in the military, special operations, working all of the different cases you do as a PI. Do you like either of these parents for this disappearance?
No. Actually, I do believe she was attacked, Julie, but I believe she was attacked by her husband. If, as an investigator on this case, if I was, the first thing I would do is I would backtrack her cell phone locations for the first 2 days, from the day that she said her baby went missing and the day before. I sincerely suspect that that black guy was there before that child went missing. because when you look at the injuries to her eye, you'll see that they're thinner. They're almost going away, okay? So that right there is an indicator to me that she's lying. And second, Julie, this case screams for bail reform, screams for harder standards to release people out on probation. This is just like an Austin Drummond case. We let another monster loose on society. Her husband broke the bones of an innocent child and gave a child permanent damage. We need to change our system.
Yeah, you're so right, Manuel. I couldn't agree with you more. That's exactly what I wanted to ask Rick Grundy about. So for anyone who's unfamiliar with this case, baby Emmanuel has a sister who is a couple years older than him. When she was just 10 weeks old, Dad harmed her so badly, it's my understanding, and that she is unable to walk, talk, still disabled from what happened to her, and probably will never ever recover from those injuries that were so terrible. Felony child cruelty is what he was convicted of, and he's still technically on probation for that. But he also picked up a gun charge in the meantime. Apparently he was found with a firearm, and when you're a felon, the law says you can't have a gun. So at that point in time, Rick Grundy, I'm thinking, why wasn't he revoked at that point in time? Because clearly the guy just keeps committing felonies.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is, across the country, regardless of the judicial system, how it's set up in the particular state, judges are put in or whatever. We don't follow up, whether it's probation, whether it's what we have in Massachusetts is called continue without a finding if you follow through with the probationary period, with the tool that's in hand, and that is just to withdraw the prior sentence and incarcerate a person or put in stricter considerations. And that needs to be done. Part of the reason that it doesn't happen is that we don't have the resources necessarily to do that. And that is constantly on people's minds. But this is, as Manuel said, Manuel, thank you for your service. This is a case that screams for it because this is what happens, and this is preventable.
It sure is preventable. So let's talk more about Mom and that black eye, because Manuel, I'm with you that I think that black eye was there. It looks like a bruise that's healing, and her story doesn't align with the injury to the face, right? Because she's telling police that she was in the back seat of the car, leaning in the back seat because she was going to change her little Emmanuel's diaper. And she says that somebody came up from behind her, said, "Hola," but she said she didn't see who it was, but just was knocked out cold. So you would think if she got a shiner, straight on, she would see who hit her. Manuel, do you think that the dad here could be controlling the mom in this narrative?
I absolutely do. I believe that the dad did it for a second time, committed child cruelty on this other child to the point where he most likely killed this child, because she's so conveniently in an area where there's no cameras, Julie. She's there changing a diaper. I have done numerous child abduction cases. Nobody's stealing a naked baby, all right, who's being changed. That's unheard of, okay? This is the first time I've ever heard anything like this. But second, the history of this father, like Rick said, the system needs to be changed. Child Protective Services should have forbid this father from being around children. This is a system failure, not only from probation, but also from Child Protective Services. Like Rick said, it was preventable. And unfortunately, this monster is out there.
Manuel, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Let me ask you something else. And again, don't know, not there, not working this case, but I'm seeing, based on the facts we have here, what looks like perhaps a domestic violence situation, perhaps a repeat of what happened before, as you said. How should investigators try to work this so that if he's influencing her, they can get to the truth? Well, in a case like this, I would separate them, but they have lawyers.
But you're allowed as a detective to use what we call a ruse and give the illusion that we have proof showing that he killed the child and so forth, and more or less scare her to tell the truth. That's a tactic that we use many, many times. And in essence, you play one against the other, okay? And I think something like that needs to be done. The weakest link in this case is the mother. You need to press the mother, and I promise you, the evidence will come out.
Yeah, I love what you're saying there, Manuel. Separate them, maybe use a ruse, something, go after mom. Rick Grundy, taking everybody kind of behind the scenes of what happens. Oftentimes investigators are working with people like yourself and the jobs that you held previously as a prosecutor to kind of guide them on, okay, how might we legally go about this? Do you like that plan to see is there a way to try to get her in, maybe even with the lawyer, and try to get her to talk first?
Yeah, there is, and it varies state to state. Massachusetts tends to have stricter guidelines when it comes to the ruse aspect of it, and there's been cases with respect to going too far when you're talking about burial interests, etc. But in this particular case, and domestic violence cases, I agree with Manuel, and I would add to it that in a domestic violence case, when they lawyer up with separate lawyers, it's to your benefit. It's to the prosecutor's benefit, because now you deal with that lawyer. And in this situation, I would be on the phone early and often with the counsel for the wife, telling him, terrible story, she's gonna get indicted, she's gonna be charged, the baby in all likelihood, I hate to say this, but based on experience, is very likely deceased, and she's going to be facing serious charges. Talk to your client, get her to do the right thing here, because her life is on the line.
Excellent advice. Boy, what a great conversation with you both on this story. We'll keep following the case of baby Emmanuel. Big thanks to you both for your time and expertise. Attorney Rick Grundy and private investigator Manuel Gomez. We'll see you soon. As we go to break, let's take another look at precious baby Emmanuel. We don't know what happened to him, but regardless, he's a victim of something. So let's hope they can find this precious baby and bring him back home.
Matriarch of the Adelson family gets arrested.
Terrible. Donna Adelson is facing charges of murder, the death of her former son-in-law, Dan Markell.
Prosecutors say a bitter child custody battle was the motive for the murder-for-hire plot.
Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
Now that the ship is really sinking fast, blood doesn't matter that much.
The Matriarch Mastermind murder trial. Live coverage today, only on Court TV.
Mrs. Adelson, for the duration of the trial, it would be best if you kept your headphones on so that way you're able to clearly hear everything that's taking place, so you're fully participating in the trial. I will certainly try to remember to advise you to do so if I see it, but again, for your benefit, because this is your trial on the merits, you need to be able to see and hear all that is going on. Anything that is going to assist you in terms of fully participating in your trial that can either be provided by counsel or the court, I will do my best to ensure that you will have access to that. Do you understand?
That was just moments ago. Mama Donna Adelson in court being addressed by His Honor. We're getting ready for the all-important opening statements to be starting in minutes. In the meantime, let's talk about what's going on at the jail. It is kind of what's tipping the scales this morning. It's a family reunion of sorts in Leon County. In lockup, that is. Reunion between Donna and her son, Charlie. Yes, that's right. They're both being housed at the Leon County Jail right now because of this trial. Donna was just moved back to the facility, and Charlie, who's been serving time in prison for the murder of Danny Markell, has been transported there to give testimony in the case. And so has Catherine McBanoa, Charlie's old girlfriend. That's right, she is being housed there too. And that has some people wondering, is it possible that they could see each other? Well, there's Harvey. He's seeing them from afar. He's in the gallery. There he was waving at Donna earlier this week. Quite a reunion. We're going to have the other Adelson brother, Rob, brought into the courtroom, and of course, Wendy as well. Let's bring in our legal analyst guest, who also was a colleague of victim Danny Markel's. He is the former state attorney in Palm Beach County, Florida. He's in private practice, rocking it now, attorney Dave Ehrenberg. Dave, good morning to you. Let's start first with the Adelsons in this little jail reunion. Practically speaking, what are the odds they would be able to see each other?
Julie, it's great to be back with you. Excited about the start of this trial. I think it's always possible they'll see each other. It's not a large facility, but it wouldn't be by intent. They're not going to allow these folks to have a reunion. This was not meant to be a social call. This is about business. Just so happens because they're needed at the trial, they're all going to be in this small facility together. So could they see each other? Sure. Are they going to be allowed to socialize and commiserate? Not a chance.
Dave, thank you for that. Let's turn to your colleague and friend, Danny Markel. For folks who may not realize this, you two were law students once upon a time together. Tell us a little bit about him, if you would, please, Dave.
Well, Julie, I knew him later. He and I did go to Harvard Law School. He was a couple years younger than I. So I knew him in Tallahassee when I was a state senator and he was a law professor. And he was a great guy, humble and just, although he was very smart. And you know, the fact that he could have made so much money in the private sector and instead decided to become a law professor and work in a smallish community tells you a lot about him, that he wasn't about the fame or the fortune. He wanted to teach students. He wanted to be the best father he could for his sons. And it's his devotion to his family, to his kids, that ended up leading to his murder, because he refused to give in to the demands of the Adelson family. He refused to take the $1 million bribe they offered him, and in the end, it cost him his life. We should all want to strive to be the kind of father that Danny Markel was to his kids.
Oh, Dave, you said that so beautifully. You know, I was thinking about you last night as I was writing my opening statement, how so many people got robbed of him, you know, and you're one of them. You're someone, you know, who really valued his friendship, his expertise. You admired him, and it's such a shame that he's not here today to see all the great things you're doing in life. And his kids, our hearts break for them. You've talked to me a lot about how he was such a lover of the law and such a devoted person to the law and to teaching and academics. What would he say if he were alive today about Donna getting a fair trial?
He was all about process and fairness. He would not have wanted the death penalty for anyone. He just would want everyone to have their constitutional rights protected. In that sense, he was someone who would infuriate the people on the right because he would debate with them. And he just believed in defendants' rights and the process should be fair. So he would, I think, appreciate the system and the way things are going. I think he may be like the rest of us, perhaps a little frustrated at how slow it's been, 11 years now, and finally Donna is standing trial. But I think the state attorney's office, and I think Danny would agree if we discussed it, we're doing a really great job going one by one, because I don't think they could have gotten Donna if they hadn't prosecuted Charlie first. I mean, after all, that's how they got the conscience of guilt. The most damaging piece of evidence against her, in my mind, is when Donna tried to flee to go to a non-extraditable country. You don't get that unless Charlie is sitting in jail with Donna on the phone with him. And so, yes, I do think the process is going to work out.
Dave, thank you so much for that. Boy, we need to commend you. You've been such a great advocate for him. You've not only given us brilliant legal analysis on the case, but also you've kept his memory alive, and we thank you so much for that. We'll see you soon, my friend.